Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see what each movie did. So let's get started. Number 5 was Cat's Eye Wild Hearts, opening with $3.9 million this weekend domestically and $4 million worldwide. So this kind of came out of the blue. I had no idea this was even a thing. I didn't even hear about this movie until I saw the poster at my movie theater when I went to see The End of Oak Street, which again really did catch me off guard. But it doesn't surprise me that this movie did crack the top 5. I am aware of Cat's Eye's popularity. I even like a couple of their songs, so naturally their fan base would rush out to see this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, to see this concert film or live performance event, or however you would call it, as I did see many of them pose in front of the poster to take pictures. Then again, this is still a concert live performance event film, so you know how these things play out. They shake the top 5 for one weekend and then just fall off, given that they're only in theaters for a weekend, or just they're very front loaded and just fall off in that second weekend. But still glad the fans got this chance to see their favorite band on the big screen. Number 4 was Paw Patrol, the Dino movie, opening with $20 million this weekend domestically and $68 million worldwide. This is the second biggest opening in the Paw Patrol franchise. It topped the first film but still sits behind the Mighty movie, and it's the 7th biggest opening for a family and animated film this year, topping The Sheep Detectives, The Breadwinner, and Animal Farm, but still sitting behind Goat, Minions and Monsters, Moana, Hoppers, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and Toy Story 5. While I was expecting a bit more, I thought we would see another increase like we saw with the last movie. This is still a reasonable debut. It does show that the franchise is still going strong. Kids, especially young kids, still have a love and passion for these movies and this show, so naturally they would be enthusiastic to go check out this third installment. I do think the dinosaur aspect definitely helped things out a lot here. You know, kids love dinosaurs, and you know, it's the Paw Patrol. If you've seen them one, you've seen them all. You know the shtick by this point. I thought the marketing really helped as well, and being like the first major animated film in a while definitely also helped this movie as well. And again, it's off to a really solid start with a $40 million budget, on its way to doubling that worldwide. It's already off to, like I said, good start for the film's box office respects, and it looks like it's gonna continue being good as people seem to be really enjoying this movie. Critics are enjoying it for what it is. It's sitting in the low 80s on Rotten Tomatoes, and audiences also seem to be enjoying it as well. It's sitting at an A on Cinema Score, on par with the Mighty movie and above the first movie. So yeah, things are looking pretty good for this movie. You know, it's not going to be the next Minions, certainly not Toy Story or Super Mario Galaxy, but should still make a nice sum of cash for itself. Number 3 was The End of Oak Street, opening with $21 million this weekend domestically and $47 million worldwide. So while not the worst opening in the world, it's already made half of its budget back worldwide, so I think it'll at least get to its initial production budget very soon. And you know, given that this is one of the few big blockbusters out right now, that may spark some interest to check it out. If, you know, not enough people can go check out Spider-Man or The Odyssey at those still like very full screenings, but that still doesn't change the fact that this is a pretty underwhelming debut. I was hoping that this movie may replicate what we saw with Disclosure Day. Like, that wasn't the biggest movie in the world, but it certainly had like a strong opening, a strong debut, where this is doing like half of what that movie did, which is a shame because this had a really interesting premise. It's an original big blockbuster, and unfortunately just didn't seem like the interest was there. Like I said last weekend, ever since the trailer, the buzz was really starting to diminish as we got closer to the movie, and you can tell by that with how low the opening was. Just the interest didn't seem to be there, and it didn't really feel like they knew how to sell the movie with the marketing, making some pretty bizarre choices in that. Not only that, and because while critics seem to be enjoying this, again, mid-80s on Rotten Tomatoes, audiences don't seem to be gelling with this movie all that much either. It's sitting at a B on Cinema Score, on par with, you guessed it, Disclosure Day from earlier this year. And so with this movie doing like half of what that movie did, I think it's gonna end up without half of what that movie did overall. Yeah, just not great results for this movie. I think it really did get overshadowed by the other two juggernauts and just a sheer lack of interest from the general audience, unfortunately leading to an underwhelming debut. Number 2 was, for the third week in a row, The Odyssey, making $23 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $505 million and its worldwide total to $1.2 billion. My goodness, just it really is starting to hit me how massive this movie is. I know I've been, like celebratory and amazed by how well this movie has done, but right now it is really starting to hit me like, man, this thing is a phenomenon, because it is now like 25 million away from surpassing The Dark Knight's entire domestic run. Now, flashback for all of you youngsters, but The Dark Knight was a huge phenomenon. It performed unlike any movie did back at that time. It was the must-see movie of the moment. People just kept going back for more, and now, nearly 20 years after that, Christopher Nolan has an even bigger phenomenon that's going to surpass that movie's entire domestic and worldwide run. Man, that is just monumentous to think about, and we're definitely going to celebrate it when it officially does at the end of this week for sure. But yeah, just we're just getting ourselves prepared, getting ready for when that happens, because again, just thinking about how massive that movie was, and now again almost 20 years later, Christopher Nolan has an even bigger movie like this that is going to surpass that. It just is honestly unreal to even think about. But when it inevitably does, because it will, we'll be here to celebrate that. Yeah, another strong weekend for this movie, and gonna keep going even higher for sure. And finally, let's end the video off with the number 1 movie of the weekend, which was, for the third weekend in a row, Spider-Man Brand New Day, making $70 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $786 million and its worldwide total to $2 billion. It's officially done it, ladies and gentlemen. Not only is it now officially the biggest Spider-Man film worldwide, but it has also surpassed the $2 billion milestone. Not even No Way Home could do that for obvious reasons, but still, again, we're just 3 weeks into this movie's run, and it's already in the big boys club. It's playing with the real titans of the box office. The question is where it will land amongst them. Only time will tell, but hey, being in the club is just good enough as is, and it's going to keep growing, especially domestically, as it's nearing 800 million domestically, as the rest of August is looking a bit dry. I mean, End of Oak Street didn't really take this down. Odyssey is providing competition, but not to the degree that would be cause for concern, as again, they're both coexisting, but this definitely has the lead, so it's probably gonna be remaining as the king of the box office for the next month or so. And by next month, I mean the remainder of August. I think at least until like early September, this movie's gonna hold the box office crown. Again, there's not much competition on the horizon, and this movie isn't really losing steam to the degree where it would like be concerned like, oh, this movie is really front loaded. Like, it's playing like a typical Marvel movie would. It's still showing stability. People still rushing out to see it, or going to see it again and again and again, and it's still raking in huge box office numbers that I don't think many of us were expecting it to reach. So yeah, another strong weekend for Spider-Man Brand New Day. And those were your top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet, as we got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. And this weekend's big new wide release is Insidious Out of the Further, the 6th film in the Insidious franchise, and at this point I think that's all many of you really need to know. Now, the last Insidious movie was actually pretty successful. It did way better than I think a lot of people were expecting it to do. Truly a big surprise during that part of the summer it was released, but I'm not sure if this one's gonna bring it. I think that movie just had a lot more working for it, the original cast coming back and the story it was telling. This is just another Insidious movie, and while horror has been doing well, a lot of horror franchises haven't. Ready or Not 2 wasn't the biggest movie ever. Evil Dead Burn, well, burned. So we'll see if this is the one that really revives the horror franchise momentum we had with like Scream 7 earlier this year. But then again, it's Insidious. It's the 6th film of the franchise. At this point, you know what you're getting into, and I think a lot of horror fans are eager to return back to this franchise. And again, August is looking pretty slow and dry this month, so it wouldn't surprise me if this was able to make up for the dry season. So yeah, I think this one could have a pretty solid debut. Nothing big, nothing monumentous, but certainly in line with some of the more successful films in the franchise. But we'll see how well this movie truly does, as well as the rest of the movies that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all those social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.